One of the things that this investigation allowed us to do, I think that you'll find interesting, is that along the course of this investigation, it was very important that they were not aware of the fact that we were gathering information and intelligence and using technology against them. And it was very difficult because there was information that was gathered during this investigation that led our officers to locations where we knew a violent act was about ready to occur. And the decision that was made in each of these incidences to intervene. And that is when specific information was determined to where an individual gang member was going to carry out an act, a violent act, and shoot someone. Whether that be someone, and this was with specific targeted victims that had been identified. And in each of those incidences, there was 4 incidences where our officers intervened as a result of that information and prevented shootings from occurring in our city against targeted victims who had been identified. Those were targeted hits. In addition, information was developed that led to the identification of several East Side Fresno Bulldog gang members who are responsible for supplying methamphetamine and rock cocaine to the Villa Posse gang. You can see that regardless of gang affiliation, if there's profit to be made, these individuals will work together, and they were in this sense. Our investigation clearly demonstrated that the Villa Posse gang was highly organized with a specific hierarchy in place that allowed them to be engaged in organized crime involving narcotics sale and the out-of-state trafficking of underage girls for prostitution purposes. And based on the organized crime, we have enlisted the assistance of the U.S. Attorney, McGregor Scott, and he will be speaking shortly about their involvement. And at this time, I believe there's been 13 federal indictments. 10 of those suspects have been arrested. And so as of today, as I stand before you, we are confident that the Villa Posse gang has been completely dismantled in terms of their organizational structure and hierarchy, and we have made significant arrest of their leadership, their shot callers, as well as their enforcers. There are other Villa Posse gang members out there today, but they are not under the leadership of the Villa Posse gang. The second concurrent operation, dubbed Operation Gatekeeper, began in February 2008, and that was in response to the large number of complaints from citizens in West Fresno about street dealing. Our major narcotics unit took that information and developed it and furthered it and began to make a number of significant street-level purchases of narcotics. And as a result of that operation, since that time, they've been able to identify 40 street-level drug dealers and obtained subsequent arrest warrants for them. And this past week, 30 of those individuals were taken off of the streets. There's still another 10 outstanding, and those individuals are being arrested on felony charges. And just to show you that these aren't first-time offenders, 28 of the 40 suspects had prior arrest. Of those, 21 were for violent felonies. So these individuals out dealing on the streets are violent criminals, and we can demonstrate that based on their record. And 27 of the 40 had prior arrest for drugs. 4 of those individuals that we arrested, we've been determined that they are in fact gang members. This investigation, Operation Gatekeeper, also resulted in the seizure of $30,000 in cash, 7 pounds of crystal methamphetamine, and 13 pounds of marijuana. And one of the most notable arrests of Operation Gatekeeper was that of Cornelius Reed, who was in possession of a handgun during the sale of the narcotics, and he was also determined to be an enforcer for the Villa Posse gang. So in total, these 2 operations resulted at this point in 84 drug dealers and violent gang members being removed from the streets of Fresno, the dismantling of the largest African-American gang in Fresno, and demonstrates truly on the part of the Fresno Police Department as well as the allied agencies that we work for that we are committed to the mayor's vision of having a drug-free Fresno. And this is one step towards that ultimate goal of a drug-free Fresno. And at this time, I'd like to bring up someone that has truly been a good friend of the city of Fresno. And I mean that. He has been very, very cooperative in terms of coming into Fresno on a frequent basis, bringing us resources, and being a partner in terms of federal prosecution of cases, which is significant. And that is the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District, McGregor Scott. Greg?
Good morning. It's a pleasure to join my good friends and colleagues and allies here at this press conference this morning. The Eastern District of California contains all of the Central Valley of California, and as I travel up and down this valley and I meet with sheriffs, I meet with chiefs, I meet with district attorneys, the common theme that I hear from Bakersfield to Red Bluff is that violent street gangs, trafficking in drugs, and the violence that they bring with them is the #1 criminal issue that they are dealing with. And that's why we're particularly pleased to be here today to join with the District Attorney's Office and the Fresno Police Department as well as ATF in announcing some very significant federal indictments. In the course of Operation 3056, very advanced technological investigative techniques were used, and we were able to draw a very complete picture of the structure of the Villa Posse, who the leaders were, who the shot callers were, who the enforcers were. And as a result of that compilation of information and evidence, we in the U.S. Attorney's Office are able to sit down with the District Attorney's Office and essentially do a triage. Who needs to go to federal prison out of this case? Who needs to go to the state penitentiary or the county jail out of this case? And as a result of that very cooperative working relationship, I'm very pleased to announce today that yesterday a federal grand jury here in Fresno returned a criminal indictment against 13 individuals. Those people are Curtis Hendricks, a.k.a. Creep, Jernell Beasley, a.k.a. P. Roller, Damian Witherspoon, a.k.a. D, Edward Hatcher, a.k.a. Eddie, Jonathan Greenwood, a.k.a. Jum Jum or June June, Melvin Wilburn, a.k.a. Pookie, Lester Gant, a.k.a. Loco Les, Kiani McGrew, Allison Jones, Gino Rios, a.k.a. Gene, Jerome Williams, a.k.a. UD, Ernest Panu, a.k.a. Raider, and Aaron Muldrew. The single indictment alleges that these folks conspired and did in fact distribute rock cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana on the streets of Fresno. All of these individuals, with the exception of one, face a mandatory minimum of 10 years in the federal penitentiary. The one individual that is an exception to that is Curtis Hendricks, who has previously been convicted here in Fresno County of possession of rock cocaine for sale, as well as assault with a firearm on an individual. Those prior convictions qualify him as what we call a career criminal in the federal system, and he is subject to a potential imprisonment of 30 years to life. Now, I love Chief Dyer, and I agree with almost everything he says, but I want to correct one thing he said earlier this morning, and that is that Curtis Hendricks is the leader of the Villa Posse. I think it's far more accurate to say today that he was the leader of the Villa Posse.